Why Stoicism Matters for Travelers. You're standing in the airport security line, watching your flight status switch from on time to delayed. Your heart races. That important meeting you scheduled? Now in jeopardy. The vacation you've been planning for months? Starting with frustration instead of relaxation. Sound familiar? Here's what most people don't realize. The ancient Stoics dealt with these exact same travel challenges 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire while constantly on the road. Seneca traveled between Rome and his estates, facing pirates and storms. Epictetus journeyed from slavery to becoming one of philosophy's greatest teachers. They discovered something profound: travel doesn't just test our patience. It reveals who we really are. In today's world, we've turned travel into something the Stoics would barely recognize. We chase Instagram perfect moments, accumulate passport stamps like trophies, and believe that the next destination will finally bring us happiness. Americans spend over $1.1 trillion annually on travel, yet surveys show that 55% of us return from vacations more stressed than when we left. There's a disconnect here, and Stoicism offers the solution. The truth is, there's a love-hate relationship between Stoics and travel. On one hand, they recognize travel's potential for growth and service. On the other, they warned against using it as an escape from ourselves. As Seneca wisely noted, every change of fortune affects either happiness or misery, but the mind that is prepared maintains its balance. This video presents your beginner's guide to Stoic travel, not just another list of packing tips or destination recommendations, but a fundamental shift in how you approach every journey. Whether you're a digital nomad working from Bali, a business traveler shuttling between meetings in Manhattan, or someone planning their first solo adventure, these 7 Stoic principles will transform your travel experience. You'll discover why Seneca argued that we can't outrun our problems by boarding a plane, how Marcus Aurelius found peace in the chaos of constant movement, and most importantly, how to apply their wisdom to modern travel challenges. From dealing with flight delays to finding meaning beyond tourist traps, from managing travel anxiety to creating genuine connections on the road, Stoicism offers practical tools for every situation. But here's the key. Stoic travel isn't about becoming emotionless or giving up comfort. It's about finding freedom through wisdom, building resilience through challenges, and discovering that the most important journey happens within. When you understand these principles, that delayed flight becomes a lesson in patience, that overpriced taxi ride teaches you about letting go, and that unexpected detour might just lead to your most meaningful experience. Ready to explore how ancient wisdom can revolutionize your modern adventures? Let's dive into the 7 principles that will change not just how you travel, but who you become along the way. 1. The Stoic perspective: travel as a means of growth. Let's say you're scrolling through social media, bombarded by photos of friends lounging on beaches in Cancun, hiking through Yosemite, or exploring temples in Kyoto. That familiar feeling creeps in. You need to book a trip, any trip, just to keep up. But here's where the Stoics would stop you cold. They'd ask one simple question: why are you really traveling? The ancient Stoics had a radically different view of travel than we do today. While modern culture sells travel as entertainment, escape, or a status symbol, the Stoics saw it as a tool, nothing more, nothing less. Like a hammer that can build or destroy, travel's value depends entirely on how we use it. Marcus Aurelius, who spent years traveling across the Roman Empire, wrote in his Meditations, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This wasn't just philosophy, it was practical wisdom from someone who lived on the road. Despite commanding legions and governing provinces from Germania to Syria, he found that true contentment came from within, not from the grandeur of new locations. Consider the modern travel industry's promise. Happiness is just one flight away. Visit Paris and find romance. Head to Bali and discover yourself. Escape to the Caribbean and leave your worries behind. The Stoics would call this the ultimate deception. Why? Because it places our well-being in the hands of external circumstances, the very opposite of Stoic wisdom. Seneca put it bluntly, every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and superficial to the old and profound. He wasn't against travel itself, but against the mindless pursuit of novelty. The difference? Purposeful travel that serves growth versus aimless wandering that serves only distraction. Here's what Stoic travel as growth actually looks like. A software developer from Seattle travels to rural Mississippi to teach coding to underprivileged kids. She faces uncomfortable conditions, cultural differences, and technical challenges. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to practice virtue, patience when the internet fails, creativity when resources are limited, compassion when students struggle. She returns home not with just photos, but with a strengthened character. Or consider a business executive from Chicago who takes a sabbatical to hike the Appalachian Trail. Not for the Instagram posts or the achievement badge, but to practice voluntary hardship, test his resilience, and gain perspective on what truly matters. Every blister, every cold night, every moment of doubt becomes a teacher. The trail doesn't change him, his response to the trail's challenges does. The Stoics identified specific ways travel could foster growth. First, it tests our adaptability. When your rental car breaks down outside Phoenix, when your hotel in Miami loses your reservation, when the restaurant in Denver serves something completely different from what you ordered, these moments reveal character. Do we explode in anger or practice patience? Do we demand compensation or demonstrate understanding? Second, travel exposes us to different ways of thinking and living. Epictetus, who traveled from slavery to establishing his own philosophical school, understood this deeply. When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. Meeting people from different backgrounds challenges our assumptions and biases, essential for developing wisdom. Third, travel can strip away the non-essential. When you're living out of a backpack for weeks, you quickly learn what you actually need versus what you think you need. This forced minimalism teaches us about the nature of desire and attachment, core Stoic concepts. That expensive watch sitting in your hotel safe? Suddenly less important than the conversation with a local vendor about life philosophy. But here's the crucial distinction: the Stoics valued growth through challenge, not comfort. Modern luxury travel, 5-star resorts, all-inclusive packages, guided tours that insulate us from any discomfort might be pleasant, but it rarely transforms us. Growth happens at the edge of our comfort zone, not in its center. Seneca practiced this principle through what he called voluntary hardship. Despite his wealth, he would spend days living like a poor man, sleeping on hard floors and eating simple food. His travels often included similar exercises. The goal wasn't masochism, but perspective, understanding that happiness doesn't depend on luxury. This doesn't mean Stoic travel requires suffering. Rather, it means approaching travel with intention. Before booking that next trip, ask yourself, will this journey help me practice virtue? Will it challenge me to grow? Will it serve a purpose beyond mere entertainment? If the answer is yes, you're thinking like a Stoic. The Stoic perspective transforms travel from consumption to cultivation. Instead of collecting destinations, we collect lessons. Instead of escaping reality, we engage with it more deeply. Instead of seeking external validation through exotic locations, we seek internal development through meaningful experiences. As Marcus Aurelius observed during his travels, confine yourself to the present. The Stoic traveler doesn't rush from site to site, anxiously checking off bucket list items. They engage fully with where they are, finding depth over breadth, quality over quantity. Ultimately, the Stoic view of travel as growth means recognizing a profound truth. The most significant journey isn't measured in miles traveled or countries visited, but in wisdom gained and character developed. When we travel with this mindset, every trip, whether to Paris or the local park, becomes an opportunity for transformation. 2. Avoiding the trap. Travel as escape versus self-improvement. Imagine this scenario. Sarah, a marketing manager from Brooklyn, just booked a one-way ticket to Thailand. Her relationship ended badly, her job feels meaningless, and her anxiety keeps her up at night. "I just need to get away," she tells her friends. "A few months in Southeast Asia will help me find myself." 3 weeks later, she's sitting on a pristine beach in Koh Samui, paradise stretching before her, yet the same anxious thoughts raced through her mind. The scenery changed, but Sarah didn't. This is exactly what Seneca warned about 2,000 years ago. In his letters to Lucilius, he wrote, "What benefit has travel of itself ever been able to give anyone? No restraint upon pleasure, no bridling of desire, no checking of bad temper, no crushing of the wild assaults of passion, no opportunity to rid the soul of evil." Traveling cannot give us judgment or shake off our errors. It merely holds our attention for a moment by a certain novelty, as children pause to wonder at something unfamiliar. Harsh words? Perhaps. But Seneca wasn't condemning travel, he was exposing our most dangerous delusion about it. We live in an age where finding yourself through travel has become a cultural cliché. Eat, Pray, Love sold millions by promising transformation through geography. Travel blogs proclaim that quitting your job to backpack through Europe will solve your quarter-life crisis. But the Stoics knew better. The problem isn't travel itself, it's our expectation that external change will create internal transformation. Think about it. How many people do you know who returned from their life-changing trip only to fall back into the same patterns within weeks? The yoga retreat in Costa Rica didn't cure their anger issues. The solo trek through Peru didn't resolve their commitment fears. The month in Japan didn't clarify their career direction. Why? Because, as Seneca brilliantly observed, we pack our problems with our passports. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor, he wrote. Similarly, it's not the person who stays home who is trapped, but the person who believes a change of location will change their internal state. Consider Marcus, a financial analyst from San Francisco. Burned out from 80-hour weeks, he takes a sabbatical to travel through South America. First week, incredible. New foods, new people, new experiences. Second week, the novelty starts wearing off. By the third week, he's checking work emails, worrying about his career, and feeling the same stress he thought he'd left behind. The Andes Mountains are breathtaking, but they can't breathe new life into his depleted soul. This phenomenon happens because we confuse distraction with healing. New environments stimulate our senses, temporarily drowning out internal discord. It's like turning up the music to ignore a strange sound in your car engine. The problem doesn't disappear, you just can't hear it for a while. But eventually, the music stops, the novelty fades, and you're left with the same unresolved issues. Seneca understood this from personal experience. As a wealthy Roman who traveled extensively, he noticed how his anxieties followed him from Rome to his country estates. He wrote, "Every change of scene will not benefit you. For though you may travel all over the world, your faults will follow you wherever you go." It's a humbling realization, you can't outrun yourself. But here's where Stoicism offers hope. Instead of using travel as an escape, we can use it as a mirror. When we're in unfamiliar territory, our true nature reveals itself more clearly. How do you react when the bus in Guatemala breaks down? What emotions surface when you're lost in Tokyo without cell service? These moments of discomfort become opportunities for self-knowledge. The key distinction is intention. Escape-driven travel says, I'm unhappy here, so I'll be happy there. Self-improvement travel says, I'll use this journey to understand and work on my unhappiness. One runs from problems, the other runs toward solutions. Take Jennifer, a teacher from Portland who approached travel differently. After a difficult divorce, she felt the urge to escape. But influenced by Stoic philosophy, she planned a hiking trip through Utah's national parks with a specific purpose: to practice resilience and self-reliance. Each day, she journaled about her emotions, practiced meditation, and challenged herself physically. When difficult feelings arose, loneliness, anger, fear, she didn't distract herself with activities. She sat with them, examined them, applied Stoic principles to understand their roots. The difference? Jennifer wasn't expecting the red rocks of Zion to heal her broken heart. She was using the journey as a structured opportunity for internal work. The travel provided a framework, but she did the heavy lifting. Seneca offers practical advice for avoiding the escape trap. If you would enjoy your travels, make healthy the companion of your travels. In other words, work on yourself first. Address your anxieties, understand your patterns, develop your character, then travel. When you do, every journey becomes richer because you're not desperately seeking something external to fix something internal. This doesn't mean we need to be perfectly balanced before boarding a plane. Rather, it means being honest about our motivations. Are you traveling to run from something or to run towards something? Are you seeking distraction or development? Are you hoping the journey will change you, or are you committed to changing yourself during the journey? The Stoics also recognized that sometimes our environment genuinely is toxic and strategic relocation can support our growth. Epictetus advised avoiding bad company that could corrupt our character. If you live surrounded by negative influences, traveling to find a better community or solitude for reflection serves self-improvement, not escape. The difference lies in taking responsibility for your growth rather than expecting the location to do the work for you. Here's a practical test. Before booking your next trip, write down what you're hoping to achieve. If your list includes things like find happiness, discover my purpose, or escape stress, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. These are internal achievements that require internal work. Instead, consider goals like practice patience through travel challenges, develop gratitude by experiencing different cultures, or build resilience through voluntary discomfort. The ultimate Stoic truth about travel is both liberating and demanding. Wherever you go, there you are. You can board 1,000 flights, visit 100 countries, accumulate 1 million frequent flyer miles, but you'll never leave yourself behind. The sooner we accept this, the sooner we can use travel for its proper purpose, not as an escape from who we are, but as a tool to become who we want to be. As Seneca concluded, it is a shameful thing to be weary of inquiry when what we search for is excellent. The search for self-improvement is indeed excellent. Just remember that the journey happens within, regardless of where your body travels without. 3. Traveling with purpose, the Stoic way. Consider this: 2 people board the same flight from Los Angeles to Guatemala City. Rachel is heading there for a 2-week vacation to see Mayan ruins and lounge by Lake Atitlan. David is traveling to help build a school in a rural village. Both will experience beautiful landscapes and cultural immersion. But from a Stoic perspective, only one is truly traveling with purpose. The Stoics didn't condemn leisure, but they insisted that our actions, including travel, should align with virtue and contribute to the common good. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This principle transforms how we approach every journey. So what constitutes purposeful travel in the Stoic sense? It's not about feeling guilty for taking a vacation or turning every trip into a humanitarian mission. Rather, it's about ensuring our travels serve virtue in some way, whether through service, education, professional duty, or genuine character development. Let's explore what this looks like in practice. Take Michael, an environmental scientist from Denver. He travels to the Amazon rainforest not for ecotourism, but to study deforestation impacts and train local communities in sustainable practices. His journey involves discomfort, mosquitoes, humid conditions, basic accommodations, but each challenge serves his larger purpose. When his equipment fails or plans change, he doesn't see obstacles, he sees opportunities to practice adaptability and resourcefulness. Or consider Lisa, a nurse from Houston who uses her vacation time to join medical missions in Haiti. She could easily spend those 2 weeks at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun. Instead, she chooses to apply her skills where they're desperately needed. The conditions are harsh, the work exhausting, but she returns home with something no beach vacation could provide, the deep satisfaction of living according to her values. Seneca provides guidance here. Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and superficial to the old and profound. Purposeful travel seeks truth and depth, not just novelty and excitement. It's the difference between consuming experiences and creating value. But purposeful travel isn't limited to humanitarian work. A history professor traveling to Rome to deepen her understanding of Marcus Aurelius's Rain travels with purpose. A chef journeying to Lyon to master traditional techniques that he'll teach to aspiring cooks back home travels with purpose. Even a stressed executive taking a wilderness retreat to develop mental resilience and return as a better leader travels with purpose. The key is intention aligned with virtue. Before the Stoics would support any journey, they'd ask, does this serve wisdom? Does it require courage? Will it practice justice? Can it demonstrate temperance? If the answer to any of these is yes, the travel has merit. Consider the 4 cardinal virtues in travel contexts. Wisdom might involve learning from different cultures to broaden perspective. A tech entrepreneur from Seattle traveling to rural India to understand how technology impacts different communities gains wisdom that makes him a more thoughtful innovator. He's not just observing, he's actively seeking understanding that will influence his future decisions. Courage in travel doesn't mean bungee jumping or extreme sports. It means facing uncomfortable truths about the world and ourselves. When Amanda, a suburban teacher from Phoenix, volunteers in inner-city Chicago schools during summer break, she confronts her own privileges and biases. That takes more courage than any adventure sport. Justice through travel involves contributing fairly to the places we visit. Instead of extractive tourism that takes from communities, purposeful travelers give back. They hire local guides, support family-owned businesses, and respect cultural practices. They recognize that their presence has impact and strive to make it positive. Temperance counters modern travel's tendency toward excess. The Stoic traveler doesn't need luxury suites or gourmet meals to find fulfillment. They practice moderation, recognizing that simplicity often leads to richer experiences. When you're not insulated by comfort, you connect more authentically with places and people. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what's up to us, our choices, values, and actions. Purposeful travel embodies this by making conscious choices about where we go and why. It's not about chance or impulse, but deliberate decision-making aligned with our principles. This approach transforms even ordinary business travel. Instead of seeing a work trip to Atlanta as a mere obligation, the Stoic traveler finds purpose, building meaningful professional relationships, learning from colleagues, and contributing expertise. They might extend the trip by a day to mentor young professionals or explore how their industry impacts the local community. Family obligations can also become purposeful travel. Visiting elderly parents in Florida isn't just a duty, it's an opportunity to practice filial piety, create meaningful memories, and model values for your children. The purpose isn't the beach or theme parks, but strengthening bonds that matter. Even educational travel takes on new meaning through a Stoic lens. A college student backpacking through Europe could approach it as mere entertainment, pub crawls, and hostel parties. Or they could travel purposefully, engaging with historical sites to understand how past civilizations dealt with challenges similar to ours, conversing with locals about different approaches to life's big questions, challenging themselves to navigate uncertainty with grace. The Stoics recognized that some purposes are more worthy than others. Traveling to attend a dear friend's wedding serves the purpose of friendship and community. Traveling to a meditation retreat to develop mental discipline serves self-improvement that ultimately benefits others. But traveling merely to boast about exotic destinations or escape responsibilities serves no virtuous purpose. Here's where modern travel often goes astray. We've been sold the idea that travel itself is the purpose. Travel broadens the mind, we're told, as if simply crossing borders automatically makes us wiser. The Stoics would disagree. Travel is a tool, purpose determines its value. Marcus Aurelius, despite constant travel as emperor, never lost sight of his purpose. Each journey served the empire and its people. He wrote his meditations not in comfort but in military camps, finding philosophical purpose even in difficult circumstances. His travels weren't about personal pleasure but public service. This doesn't mean Stoics can't enjoy travel. When purpose aligns with pleasure, what Aristotle called the highest good, we achieve something special. The teacher who loves exploring new cultures while volunteering abroad experiences this alignment. The pleasure enhances the purpose rather than replacing it. Practical application starts with honest questioning. Before booking any trip, ask yourself, what virtuous purpose does this serve? How will I be better able to contribute to the common good afterward? What skills, knowledge, or character development will result? If you can't answer these questions, reconsider the journey. Sometimes the answer might surprise you. A solo hiking trip through Colorado might serve the purpose of building mental resilience needed to support others through challenges. A culinary tour of New Orleans might provide inspiration to bring joy to others through cooking. Purpose doesn't always look profound, sometimes it's beautifully simple. The Stoic way ultimately asks us to travel not as consumers but as contributors. Not as escapists but as engaged citizens of the world. Not as collectors of experiences but as cultivators of virtue. When we travel with purpose, every journey, whether to distant lands or nearby towns, becomes a pilgrimage toward wisdom and service. 4. Navigating travel challenges, the dichotomy of control. Imagine you've just landed in a foreign country, excited to explore. But as you step out of the airport, you're hit with pouring rain. Your prearranged taxi is nowhere to be seen. Frustration bubbles up inside you. The weather is ruining your carefully planned itinerary, and the anxiety of being in an unfamiliar place starts to set in. Sound familiar? In moments like these, the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control becomes crucial. This concept, central to Stoic philosophy, teaches us to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. The weather? Out of our hands. The taxi's arrival? Also beyond our control. Our reactions to these challenges? That's where our power lies. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When traveling, it's easy to focus on everything that goes wrong, lost luggage, missed flights, or unfriendly locals. But the Stoic traveler understands that while external circumstances may be unpredictable, our responses are entirely up to us. Let's break this down further. The first step in mastering the dichotomy of control is awareness. When you're faced with a travel challenge, pause for a moment and assess the situation. What aspects can you influence? What aspects are simply beyond your control? This practice applies not only to travel but to life in general. Consider Sarah, a college student who planned a spring break trip to Europe. Upon arriving in London, she discovers her luggage is lost. Instead of spiraling into panic, Sarah remembers her Stoic training. She can't control the airline's mistakes, but she can control her reaction. Instead of letting anger and frustration ruin her trip, she chooses to adapt. She spends the day exploring the city in her travel clothes, finding unexpected joy in the adventure of it all. By the time her luggage arrives, she's already made memories that would have been overshadowed by irritation. This awareness allows us to reframe our experiences. When things go wrong, instead of viewing ourselves as victims of circumstance, we can see ourselves as active participants in our journey. The Stoics believed that adversity is a chance for growth. Each challenge we encounter on the road is an opportunity to practice virtues like patience, resilience, and adaptability. Next, let's talk about expectations. Travel often comes with preconceived notions that can lead to disappointment. We expect perfect weather, seamless logistics, and friendly locals. However, the Stoic traveler learns to lower their expectations, understanding that perfection is unrealistic. Instead, they cultivate a mindset of acceptance. Whatever happens, I can handle it, they remind themselves. For instance, imagine you're in Paris and the Eiffel Tower is shrouded in fog. Instead of sulking, a Stoic mindset encourages you to embrace the moment. You might find a cozy cafe, enjoy a warm croissant, and engage with locals. The fog becomes less a hindrance and more an invitation to discover hidden gems that may not be in the travel guide. The dichotomy of control also encourages us to find flexibility in our plans. Travel is inherently unpredictable. Flights get canceled, trains run late, and tours get overbooked. In these instances, the Stoic traveler remains calm and open to new possibilities. Instead of clinging to a rigid itinerary, they embrace spontaneity. This adaptability leads to unique experiences like stumbling upon a street festival or connecting with fellow travelers over an unexpected adventure. Another important aspect of navigating challenges is practicing gratitude. When faced with difficulties, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong. However, taking a moment to appreciate the positives can shift our perspective. Maybe you missed a train, but you had a chance to chat with a friendly local who shares hidden secrets about the city. Practicing gratitude helps us remain grounded and connected even amidst chaos. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of inner peace during external chaos. He taught that our emotions are shaped by our judgments. If we perceive a challenge as a setback, we feel frustrated. But if we view it as a chance to learn, we cultivate resilience. This shift in perception is transformative, especially while traveling. So, how can you apply this principle to your next journey? Start by identifying potential challenges and how you might respond. Prepare yourself mentally for the unexpected. Acknowledge that disruptions are part of the travel experience. Consider keeping a journal during your trip to document both challenges and your responses. This practice can deepen your understanding of the dichotomy of control and help you grow as a traveler. Additionally, practice negative visualization, a technique advocated by Stoics. Before your trip, imagine what could go wrong: lost luggage, bad weather, language barriers. By contemplating these scenarios beforehand, you can mentally prepare yourself to respond with grace and composure if they occur. It's not about pessimism, it's about being prepared. The Stoic traveler also focuses on cultivating inner peace. Through meditation, mindfulness, or simply taking deep breaths in moments of stress, you can ground yourself. Remind yourself of what truly matters, your character, and how you respond to challenges. Ultimately, the dichotomy of control empowers us to travel with intention. Instead of being passive victims of circumstance, we become active participants in our journeys. By focusing on our responses, we cultivate resilience, patience, and adaptability. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone toward personal growth. As you embark on your next adventure, remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Embrace the challenges, learn from them, and let them shape you into a more resilient and wise traveler. 5. The importance of solitude, cultivating inner peace while traveling. Picture this, you're on a bustling street in Tokyo, surrounded by crowds. Neon lights flash, vendors shout, and the air is filled with the scent of street food. Yet amidst all this excitement, you feel a wave of anxiety wash over you. The noise, the people, the constant stimulation, it's all too much. You long for a moment of peace, a chance to breathe, to reflect. In our fast-paced world, the idea of solitude often feels foreign, especially when traveling. However, the Stoics understood the profound importance of solitude for personal growth and inner peace. Seneca wrote, "To consort with the crowd is harmful. There is no person who does not make some vice attractive to us." His wisdom reminds us that while the world offers endless distractions, true clarity often emerges in moments of quiet reflection. Traveling can be exhilarating, but it can also be overwhelming. The constant movement, the new sights, and the endless interactions can lead to sensory overload. This is why finding solitude during our journeys is essential. It allows us to step back, recharge, and connect with our inner selves. But how can we cultivate solitude while navigating the hustle and bustle of travel? First, let's explore the idea of intentional solitude. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from your travel companions or avoiding social interactions altogether. Instead, it's about carving out specific moments for yourself, even in crowded environments. For instance, during a group tour of the Louvre, take a few minutes to step away and find a quiet corner. Allow yourself to reflect on the art, the history, and what it means to you personally. This brief pause can provide a refreshing perspective and enhance your overall experience. Consider the story of Tom, a software engineer from Seattle. He traveled to Barcelona for a conference but found the endless networking events draining. Instead of forcing himself to socialize every evening, he dedicated one night to solitude. He wandered the Gothic Quarter, allowing the architecture and history to wash over him. In that moment of quiet exploration, he gained insights about his career and life goals that he hadn't considered amidst the chaos of the conference. The Stoics believed that solitude is a powerful tool for self-examination. When we're alone, we can confront our thoughts, fears, and desires without external distractions. This introspection is vital for personal growth. During your travels, set aside time each day for reflection. Whether through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting in nature, these moments can help you process your experiences and emotions. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the importance of solitude for the mind. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Embracing solitude allows us to cultivate inner peace, which is crucial when faced with travel challenges. It's during these moments that we can practice gratitude, remind ourselves of our values, and reconnect with our purpose. Another way to foster solitude while traveling is by seeking out peaceful environments. This might mean visiting a local park, finding a quiet cafe, or even taking a walk along the beach at sunrise. Nature has a unique ability to ground us and inspire reflection. When you're surrounded by the beauty of the natural world, it's easier to disconnect from the noise of daily life and reconnect with your thoughts. For example, Anna, a teacher from Boston, visited the serene landscapes of Iceland. While many tourists flocked to popular attractions, Anna chose to spend her evenings at the Blue Lagoon, soaking in the geothermal waters. The experience became a form of meditation for her, allowing her to contemplate her life's direction and the changes she wanted to make. In those quiet moments, she found clarity and peace. The Stoics also emphasized the value of withdrawing into oneself. Seneca advised, withdraw into yourself as far as you can. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. This principle encourages us to choose our companions wisely, but it also highlights the importance of finding solitude among the crowds. When we can retreat into our own thoughts, we become less influenced by external pressures and more grounded in our values. Incorporating solitude into your travel routine can enhance your overall experience. Start by scheduling daily quiet times, even if it's just for 10 to 15 minutes. Use this time to breathe deeply, reflect on your day, or set intentions for the next. These small moments of solitude can significantly impact your mental well-being and help you navigate the ups and downs of travel with greater ease. Moreover, solitude can also lead to unexpected connections. When you take time for yourself, you may find that you're more open and present when you do interact with others. As you cultivate inner peace, your conversations become more meaningful and your experiences more enriching. You approach each encounter with a clearer mind and a calmer heart, enhancing the quality of your travels. Finally, remember that solitude doesn't have to be a solitary experience. If you're traveling with friends or family, communicate your need for quiet time. Explain that taking time for yourself will ultimately enhance your time together. Encourage your companions to do the same. This practice can foster a deeper understanding among your group and create a more harmonious travel experience. In conclusion, the importance of solitude in travel cannot be overstated. As the Stoics teach us, introspection and reflection are essential for personal growth and inner peace. By intentionally seeking moments of solitude, we can navigate the chaos of travel with greater clarity and purpose. Embrace these opportunities to connect with yourself, and you'll find that your travels become not just a physical journey, but a profound exploration of the self. 6. Practicing virtue, wisdom, moderation, and courage on the road. You're at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun. The buffet stretches endlessly before you, cocktails flow freely, and every indulgence imaginable awaits. Your travel companion suggests hitting the bar for the third time before noon. Meanwhile, a local worker mentions their village needs volunteers for a community project. In this moment, you face a choice that would have fascinated the ancient Stoics. Will you practice virtue or succumb to vice? The Stoics believed that virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation should guide every aspect of our lives, including how we travel. These aren't abstract concepts, but practical tools that transform ordinary trips into opportunities for character development. As Epictetus taught, no one can hurt you without your permission. This applies powerfully to travel, where constant choices test our commitment to virtuous living. Let's start with wisdom on the road. Wisdom isn't about memorizing guidebook facts or knowing the best restaurants. It's about understanding deeper truths and making thoughtful decisions. When Jessica, a marketing director from Miami, visited Morocco, she could have stayed in tourist zones, shopping for souvenirs. Instead, she chose wisdom. She hired a local guide, not to show her tourist traps, but to explain the cultural significance behind daily customs. She learned why tea ceremonies matter, how traditional crafts preserve heritage, and what challenges local communities face. This pursuit of wisdom transformed her trip. When aggressive vendors approached, instead of getting annoyed, she understood their economic pressures. When she saw women in traditional dress rather than snapping photos for Instagram, she engaged respectfully, learning about their choices and perspectives. Wisdom helped her see beyond surface experiences to gain genuine understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is perspective, not truth." The wise traveler remembers this, especially when encountering different cultures. They question their assumptions, seek multiple viewpoints, and remain humble about what they don't know. They read local authors, engage in meaningful conversations, and approach differences with curiosity rather than judgment. Moderation, or temperance, presents unique challenges while traveling. The tourism industry thrives on excess, unlimited drinks, lavish meals, packed itineraries promising to squeeze every possible experience into your trip. But the Stoics knew that moderation leads to greater satisfaction than indulgence. Consider David, a banker from Chicago who typically traveled in luxury. Inspired by Stoic philosophy, he tried a different approach in Thailand. Instead of five-star hotels, he chose modest accommodations. Rather than elaborate meals, he ate simple local food. He limited his daily activities, allowing time for reflection. The result? He felt more connected to the place and people than ever before. Without the buffer of luxury, he experienced Thailand more authentically. Seneca practiced this principle through voluntary hardship, occasionally living simply despite his wealth. He understood that moderation isn't about deprivation but about finding the sweet spot between excess and asceticism. For travelers, this might mean enjoying local cuisine without overindulging, appreciating comfort without requiring luxury, or collecting experiences without trying to do everything. Moderation also applies to technology use while traveling. How many sunset views are diminished by the compulsion to photograph them? How many conversations are interrupted by notification pings? The moderate traveler sets boundaries, specific times for checking emails, limits on social media posting, and deliberate phone-free periods to fully engage with their surroundings. Then there's courage, perhaps the most misunderstood virtue in travel contexts. Modern travel marketing equates courage with adrenaline activities, skydiving, bungee jumping, swimming with sharks. But Stoic courage runs deeper. It's about facing uncomfortable truths, challenging our biases, and standing up for what's right even when it's difficult. Real courage might look like Maria, a suburban mom from Phoenix who visited South Africa. Instead of staying in gated resorts, she toured townships to understand apartheid's legacy. The experience was emotionally challenging, forcing her to confront her own privileges and prejudices. But she faced it with courage, engaging in difficult conversations and returning home committed to social justice work. Courage also means standing up for your values while traveling. When you witness exploitation, whether it's child labor, animal abuse, or environmental destruction, courage demands action. This might mean refusing to support unethical businesses, speaking up against injustice, or simply choosing the harder but more ethical option. Sometimes courage in travel is deeply personal. It's the introvert pushing themselves to engage with locals despite social anxiety. It's the person afraid of flying who boards the plane anyway to visit family. It's admitting when you're wrong, apologizing in a foreign language, or asking for help when you're lost and prideful. The fourth cardinal virtue, justice, deserves special attention in travel contexts. Just traveling means considering your impact on places and people. It means paying fair prices rather than haggling with locals down to poverty wages. It means respecting cultural sites rather than treating them as personal photo opportunities. It means recognizing that your vacation playground is someone else's home. Take the example of sustainable tourism. The Just Traveler researches the environmental and social impact of their choices. They support locally owned businesses, respect wildlife and natural habitats, and minimize their carbon footprint where possible. They understand that travel is a privilege that comes with responsibilities. Practicing virtue while traveling isn't about perfection, it's about intention and effort. Every day presents new opportunities to choose wisdom over ignorance, moderation over excess, courage over comfort, and justice over selfishness. These choices might seem small: learning a few words in the local language, wisdom; refusing the third helping at the buffet, moderation; trying unfamiliar food despite nervousness, courage; or tipping generously, justice. But these small choices accumulate into a profound transformation. As Aristotle observed, we become what we repeatedly do. If we repeatedly choose virtue while traveling, we return home not just with photos and souvenirs, but with strengthened character. The Stoics would remind us that practicing virtue isn't about impressing others or feeling morally superior. It's about aligning our actions with our values, regardless of external recognition. The tourist who quietly picks up litter on a beach, the traveler who patiently helps a confused elderly person at the airport, the visitor who takes time to truly listen to local perspectives. These unnoticed acts of virtue matter more than any Instagram-worthy moment. Ultimately, virtuous travel asks us to see each journey as a training ground for character. Every interaction, every decision, every challenge becomes an opportunity to practice being the person we want to be. When we travel this way, we don't just visit new places, we become better humans in the process. 7. Journaling and reflection, enhancing your travel experience. The scene is all too familiar. You're sitting in a cafe in Prague, scrolling through hundreds of photos on your phone, trying to remember which cathedral was which. The past week blurs together: beautiful buildings, interesting people, memorable meals, but somehow it all feels fuzzy, like a dream you can't quite recall. Sound familiar? This is what happens when we consume experiences without digesting them. The Stoics had a powerful antidote to this modern problem: the practice of reflection through writing. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for publication, he wrote them for himself, often while traveling on military campaigns. These personal reflections, scribbled in tents and temporary quarters, became one of history's most influential philosophical works. The lesson? Journaling transforms fleeting experiences into lasting wisdom. Consider what happens when we travel without reflection. We rush from site to site, snapping photos, checking off bucket list items, but never pausing to process what we're experiencing. It's like eating without tasting. We might fill our stomachs, but we miss the nourishment. The ancient Stoics understood that experiences only become meaningful when we take time to examine them. Seneca wrote letters to his friend Lucilius that served as both communication and self-reflection. He advised, "Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and superficial to the old and profound." Through writing, we move beyond surface-level tourist experiences to discover deeper truths about ourselves and the world. Let me share a story about Emma, a graphic designer from Portland. She spent 3 weeks backpacking through Southeast Asia, initially approaching it like most travelers, a packed itinerary, constant photo-taking, and rushing to see everything. By day 5, she felt overwhelmed and oddly disconnected from her experiences. Then she remembered the Stoic practice of evening reflection. That night in her Bangkok hostel, Emma opened a simple notebook and began writing. Not a travel blog for others, but honest reflections for herself. She wrote about the elderly woman who'd helped her find the right bus despite speaking no English. She explored her discomfort with the poverty she'd witnessed. She questioned why certain experiences triggered strong emotions while others left her cold. This nightly practice transformed her trip. Instead of just seeing temples, she began noticing patterns in Buddhist philosophy that paralleled Stoic teachings. Rather than merely tasting street food, she reflected on how sharing meals created human connection across language barriers. Her journal became a conversation with herself, helping her process not just what she saw, but what it meant. The Stoics believed in examining our days with specific questions. Marcus Aurelius would ask himself, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What did I learn? Adapting this for travel creates powerful insights. Each evening, consider questions like, what challenged me today? How did I respond? What assumptions were proven wrong? When did I act according to my values, and when did I fall short? But effective travel journaling goes beyond daily recaps. It's about capturing the internal journey alongside the external one. When you visit the Colosseum in Rome, don't just write, saw Colosseum, very big, very old. Instead, explore what it stirred in you. Did its history make you reflect on the temporary nature of power? Did the crowds make you think about modern spectacle culture? Did standing where gladiators once fought make you consider your own battles? Here's where many travelers go wrong. They think journaling means writing beautifully or having profound insights. The Stoics would disagree. Your journal isn't a performance, it's a tool. Write honestly even if it's messy or contradictory. Admit when you're bored at a famous museum. Explore why you felt more moved by a simple sunset than an acclaimed monument. This honesty leads to self-knowledge. The practice also helps with a common travel problem, overwhelm. When you're experiencing new sights, sounds, tastes, and ideas daily, your brain struggles to process it all. Journaling provides a release valve. By putting experiences into words, you literally help your mind organize and store memories more effectively. Neuroscience confirms what the Stoics intuited. Writing about experiences helps us understand and remember them better. Take the approach of Robert, a history teacher from Boston who developed a unique journaling method during his sabbatical year. Each evening, he'd write 3 sections: what I saw, external observations, what I felt, emotional responses, and what I learned, insights and wisdom gained. This structure helped him move from tourist to philosopher, transforming each day's experiences into personal growth. The Stoics also used writing for preparation, not just reflection. Before visiting a new place, write about your expectations, fears, and hopes. This practice, similar to negative visualization, prepares you for reality versus fantasy. When things don't match expectations, you can explore why and what that teaches you about your assumptions. Morning pages can be equally powerful. Before the day's activities begin, spend 10 minutes writing stream of consciousness thoughts. This clears mental clutter and sets intentions. You might discover you're anxious about navigating public transport, excited about trying local food, or resistant to leaving your comfort zone. Awareness of these feelings helps you address them consciously rather than letting them unconsciously control your day. Don't limit yourself to words. Sketch a scene that moved you, even if you're not an artist. Create lists, things that surprised me today, moments of human kindness, times I chose comfort over growth. Make maps of your emotional journey alongside your physical route. The format matters less than the practice of reflection. Technology offers new possibilities while honoring ancient wisdom. Voice recordings can capture immediate impressions when writing isn't practical. Apps can prompt daily reflection questions. But beware of performative journaling. Posting every thought on social media isn't reflection, it's exhibition. True Stoic journaling is private, honest, and focused on personal growth rather than public impression. The benefits compound over time. Reviewing your journal weeks or months later reveals patterns invisible in the moment. You might notice you're always happiest when connecting with locals but keep choosing isolated tourist activities. You might see how your judgments about places reflect more about your mood than reality. These insights inform future travels and life choices. Some practical tips from seasoned Stoic travelers: keep your journal simple and portable. A small notebook and a reliable pen beat fancy apps that might fail when you need them. Write at consistent times. Many find evening reflection most natural, but choose what works for you. Don't pressure yourself to write pages. Sometimes a few thoughtful sentences capture more than rambling paragraphs. Most importantly, be patient with the process. Early entries might feel forced or superficial. That's normal. Like meditation, journaling is a practice that deepens over time. The 20th day of writing will yield richer insights than the second. Trust the process. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Journaling helps us understand and improve our reactions. It transforms travel from consumption to education, from entertainment to enlightenment. When you commit to this practice, every journey, whether to distant lands or nearby towns, becomes a master class in self-knowledge and wisdom. Embracing the Stoic journey, making travel meaningful. As we reach the end of our exploration, imagine yourself back in that airport security line from the beginning. Your flight is delayed again. The businessman next to you is loudly complaining. A baby starts crying. But something's different this time. Instead of frustration, you feel a strange sense of calm. You've learned something profound. The journey that matters most isn't measured in miles traveled, but in wisdom gained. Through these 7 Stoic principles, we've discovered that meaningful travel isn't about escaping life. It's about engaging with it more deeply. From understanding travel as a tool for growth rather than escape, to practicing virtue on the road, from embracing solitude to journaling our insights, each principle builds toward a revolutionary truth. We don't need to travel to find ourselves, but we can use travel to become ourselves. The ancient Stoics would be amazed by our modern ability to cross oceans in hours, to video call home from remote mountains, to access the world's knowledge from our pockets. Yet they'd recognize our struggles as timeless. The search for meaning, the desire for peace, the challenge of living virtuously in a chaotic world. Their wisdom remains as relevant in today's airport lounges as it was in Roman forums. Remember, Stoic travel isn't about becoming emotionless or giving up comfort. It's about finding freedom through wisdom. When you understand what you can and cannot control, every delayed flight becomes a lesson in patience. When you travel with purpose, every journey serves the greater good. When you practice moderation, simple pleasures become profound joys. When you journal and reflect, fleeting moments become lasting wisdom. These principles transform not just how we travel, but how we live. The patience you develop dealing with travel challenges serves you in traffic jams back home. The cultural understanding gained abroad helps you connect with diverse neighbors. The courage practiced in foreign lands empowers you to face fears in familiar places. The journal that captured travel insights becomes a tool for daily reflection. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This truth liberates us from the modern travel trap, the belief that happiness awaits in some exotic destination. Instead, we carry our happiness with us, finding it not in perfect circumstances, but in our response to whatever circumstances we encounter. So whether your next journey takes you across the globe or just across town, remember these Stoic principles. Pack light on expectations but heavy on wisdom. Seek not just new sights but new insights. Practice virtue as consciously as you plan your itinerary. Find moments of solitude amidst the crowds. And always reflect on what you're learning about yourself and the world. The Stoic path isn't always easy. It asks us to face uncomfortable truths, to choose growth over comfort, to take responsibility for our experience. But it offers something invaluable in return: the ability to find meaning and peace anywhere, anytime, under any circumstances. That's a journey worth taking. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Stoic travel wisdom. If these principles resonated with you, if you're ready to transform your next journey from mere tourism to profound pilgrimage, then you're part of the Stoic Vivu community. Subscribe to our channel for more practical philosophy that bridges ancient wisdom with modern life. Like this video if it offered value, and share it with fellow travelers who might be seeking more meaningful adventures. Remember, wherever you go, there you are. Make sure the person you're traveling with yourself is someone you're proud to be. Safe travels, fellow Stoics, on all your journeys, both external and internal.